Kevin is officially sort of late.
I mean, he was on camera right at the start of the show.
Technically,
Can't hear a word you're saying, and I love it.
He's heated up tonight. He's heated up tonight.
Whew.
Was it a long commute, Kevin, home?
It took 55 minutes for me to get from my work to this room. I made about what, 30 seconds before the countdown came on? Thank you.
Couldn't resist.
Of course, I deserve it.
Well, we're glad you're here. We're glad everyone is here for another Tuesday night. This is the weekly Baseball Brew Crew podcast. We are a little bit country. We're a little bit lock and low, keeping baseball history alive, one craft beer at a time. Wherever you're watching us live, please give us a like and a follow. If you love beer with your baseball, please tell a friend. Hey, we've got to get out of the 400s of subscribers. This is ridiculous. We've been here long enough where you all should be like telling all your friends, get them all together. Let's do this. Let's get it going. Get everybody in here. We love baseball. We love craft beer, and we know that you do too. So
where do we stand right now on subscribers?
I don't even want to talk about it. I'm not going to talk about it until we're in the 600s, and then we're going to talk about 600.
All right. So if we get to 600,
yes,
I'll do something really stupid. Let's figure it out. As a reward to the audience, I don't know. I'll put on a mankini and jump off of Chase Stadium.
Yeah.
If we get to 700, Jack won't do that.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll be posting that video every day until we get more subscribers, dude.
That's what I want to hear for sure. And we have thank you, David, for joining us. We have a lot of the usual suspects. We definitely yes.
I'm the usual suspect for about.
Hey, you don't even show up sometimes, so
right. Yeah, exactly.
Hey,
I've only missed one full episode. All right.
Okay, I'll give you that.
Entirely, and that was so long ago. Well, Cowboy Jack doesn't remember last week's show, so it's fine.
Yes, this is a little foreshadowing, but it's like the '68 Bob Gibson. We had to change the show just for you.
For me,
we had to much like they had to change the pitching mound height because of Bob Gibson.
Hey, come on, I'm gonna talk about that. Don't ruin my bit.
That's right. Well, we're not ruining anything. Hey, like we need all the people here we can get. We're gonna entice them, right?
Yes, sir.
Let's do it. Let's get together here. Let's do some housekeeping before we start. We want to give a shout out to our Patreon supporters for their incredible support. These are the people who hopped on and believed in our craft beer and baseball experience. We're lucky to have them along for the ride. Let me do that right here. Booyah. If you would like to become a Patreon supporter and support what we do every week, become a Patreon member for as low as $5 a month. Go to patreon.com/beerbaseball. Here's a lineup card for today. In the leadoff spot is the VP of Content Development here at the Baseball Brew Crew Podcast. It is Angelo Trinidad. Welcome.
It is Tuesday night, and the feeling is right. And I'm ready to do this, boys. I didn't know where I was going with that, so I'm not a songbird like Cowboy Jack here, but I'm happy to be here on a Tuesday night and with a cold one with my good brothers right here.
Love it. We may have someone who's a little misguided here. We are MLB, but we're glad you're here. If you want to know more about old baseball and craft beer, you're in the right place.
He's talking about the Birmingham Barons, clearly.
Yes, exactly. And I'm sure Universe, Galaxy, NBA, you knew about the Birmingham Barons before the documentary, I'm sure. Yeah, Cowboy?
Yeah. You mean that documentary called Space Jam?
I would, yes. One of the greatest documentaries of all time.
Yes.
That comment made me feel like I was walking into a conversation mid-conversation, right? Like,
all right.
Do we know good brother? Like he was just like mid-stream of thought.
Okay. It'll work. Thank you for, as long as you subscribe, put all the comments that you want in there.
What's that number at, Michael?
Yes, get to it. Next, he is the field correspondent and the senior research analyst. It is Kevin Lyon on time, and we're so glad you're here.
I'm the reason why this show is at 6:30, so if I don't show up on time, that's Mega Heat from Cowboy Jack Durango. I'll be saying that every week. I'm sure everyone misses me not being on time, so you get all the short jokes, and all the jokes making fun of me. Feel free to make fun of me like I'm not here. Here, can I just turn off my camera? Go ahead.
Well, that was a short time on the show.
Yeah. Thank you.
Hitting third is the Goodwill Ambassador and the Sultan of Swig. It is Cowboy Jack Durango.
Hot late night a week ago when I was not so strong, a precious Kevin came to me. I'd never seen eyes so black, I could not run away, it seemed. We'd seen each other in a dream. Seemed like he knew me. He looked right through me, yeah. Come on home, Jack, he said with a smile. You don't have to love me yet. Let's just get drunk a while. But try to understand. Try to understand. Try to understand. I'm a magic man. Whoa. Woo. Ladies and gentlemen, that song was dedicated to the Heartbreak Kid, the man that oozes sex appeal and makes the ladies scream and squeal just by unbuttoning that top button, Daddy. Our Lord and Savior Taro, the best chest in the West, the God King of Anaheim, California, precious Kevin Lyon.
Let him hear it. Yes.
That's all from the live show.
Wow.
That's pent up from the live show, guys.
Whoa.
So good.
I've been told, much like Jack is a songbird of our generation, I was told that I am the Jason Momoa of Anaheim.
Wow.
For sure you are,
Many
bro.
people have said that. Maybe Cowboy Jack.
For sure you are, dude. It's not Beatlemania, dude. It's Taro Mania.
Yeah. He was actually married to Lisa Bonet before Lenny Kravitz.
Huh.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Thank you.
Well done, dude.
You have to know your Lisa Bonet history to understand that.
Sure. Yeah.
What a dreamboat that Kevin Lyon is.
Exactly. I've known him for all these years, and I've never had those types of feelings for him. But I saw the star appeal. I saw it in action.
Yeah.
It was the Musk that was in that room.
The Musk, dude. Yes.
It's left us all speechless.
Yes. Yep. Thank you.
So to everybody who joined us at our live show last week, thank you. Can't wait for you to see it.
Yeah. We'll definitely get to that. We did have one little production snafu, but hopefully we can do it again and not have those. But hey, it was a great time. We had an incredible. It was an incredible learning experience, but also I was very happy that everybody turned out, and it was just a fun night overall. So thank you so much.
And hey, I can add, because I went to right after, and they're like, "Oh yeah, we noticed the difference. We noticed the different, a higher intake that night." I'm like, yeah, you're welcome.
Oh, that's great to hear. That's
dude.
that's good to
I
hear.
said, we brought an extra 20 people in there.
The Baseball Brew Crew was the Radiant's first $1 million house was built on our back, baby.
I mean, that's true. I think I spent about $775,000 in beer that night.
It's true.
No, you did.
Good thing you share a bank account with your mother.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Whoa. Ooh.
You're about to make, Jack. Angelo, do you have a muffin?
Don't you dare stop. Moving on.
Unfortunately, I don't.
Rats, I wish you had a muffin just to make
No spindrifts either.
Yes. Oh my God. I was actually impressed by that. We have we love Spindrift. So
Those
it's
are
like,
great. They are great.
yeah, they are. I didn't know that you have to drink a whole case of it all in one sitting, but whatever. But then again, I don't put it in a trash bag. So I guess that's what the millionaires do, right?
Dude,
I drink them one by one.
Tonight, dude. We're heat
Yeah.
seekers.
That's how we get the subs, baby.
Yep.
Yes, exactly.
Smash that subscribe button, dude.
Yes, and for the record, CM Punk has been nothing but a sweetheart to me. When he first came into PWG, it was he was super nice, but he rubbed people the wrong way. In fact, there was a woman at the I think we did a show at the Elks Lodge, and this woman, like, I don't know where she came from. I think she was part of the Elks Lodge. Like, she really hated him and just was giving him a hard time and wanted him kicked out and everything. And I was like, oh, what? So he's always been like a heat magnet with like people. He just rubs people the wrong way for some reason. So, anyway, that we don't do a wrestling podcast. That's for Kevin to go on at another time. Kevin's doing all these wrestling podcasts, which is awesome.
I did one on Saturday. It was fun.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Jarvis Washing Machine on Twitch, if you are so inclined. It was very cool.
And I think the full version it'll be on YouTube, but just the audio along with the actual action is on YouTube.
Yeah, it's super cool. So, as tradition on the show, we always bring a new and unique craft beer to review and enjoy. So what are you drinking tonight? We're going to start with Angelo.
All right. So tonight I am partaking from Big Dogs Brewing Co. in Las Vegas, Nevada, their Dirty Dog IPA. So this one's 7.1 ABV, IBU of 70. So just outside of my wheelhouse. But I can tell my palate is expanding because it's actually pretty tolerable for 70 IBU. So, Mike, I'm slowly creeping up towards your wheelhouse. I don't know if I'm going to get there, but this one's definitely enjoyable. Doesn't necessarily say on Untapped what hops it's brewed with, but it's actually pretty good. So I'll definitely be having this again, and looking forward to getting back to the Las Vegas area here in about a month, so I can return with more local Las Vegas beers.
Yeah, very cool. I was gonna say your refrigerator is located in Nevada. Like, that's the only place that you get your craft beer nowadays.
Yeah, I got to stock up while I'm out there.
Yeah, that's super cool. This is great to hear. And it's, again, I don't know when I'll make it back to Vegas, but there's a lot of breweries to. Are they off the strip? Or are they in? Is Henderson? Like, where exactly is that at?
So this one, this particular brewery is in Las Vegas. I don't know where in Las Vegas it is.
Okay.
Some of the previous ones I had were in Henderson, which is about 20 minutes outside of like the Las Vegas city limits. But yeah, so I visited breweries the last round, this time with this beer and the one that I had a couple weeks ago, which was the Bad Beat Brewing, which I had a Bad Beat Brewing beer prior to that. Was from like their local, it's like kind of like their Bevmo, but it's like I can't remember the name of it. And it was funny because I walked in to grab some on our way out of town, and the guy behind the counter looked somewhat familiar. So I go, I'm going to talk and try to pull up this picture at the same time. And so I get up to the register, and he's like, Angelo Trinidad? I'm like, yeah. He's like, PWG Angelo? Yeah. And so it was
that would be a coincidence if you had the same name and you're not PWG Angelo, by the way.
Yeah, well, exactly. Yeah. So let me see if I can pull it up here. But yeah, so this is that's Chris, who used to frequent PWG shows at the American Legion Hall.
He does look familiar.
So
he does look vaguely familiar.
Yeah, so that was super cool to run into him. But yeah, so shout out to Chris, and yeah. So when I head back in October, I'm gonna try to grab a couple more, and hopefully some to share with the boys here on the Baseball Brew Crew.
Love it. Thank you so much. Very awesome. Kevin, you're up next.
All right. Well, we're going from the Big Dog to the Flying Dog. This is Flying Dog Brewery out of Frederick, Maryland.
Nice segue.
former home of the Frederick Keys, I want to say, Michael Mondragon.
Yes,
They're
yes.
still around. I'm assuming that's the team. And this is called The Truth. It is an 8.7 Imperial IPA. So 2 of these, and I do solemnly swear I'm going to be feeling good, as it says on the bottle here.
Nice.
And
Lee's Discount Liquor is the name of the place. Lee's Discount Liquor.
Okay.
Right.
Gotcha.
Duly noted.
Dude,
What was that, Jack?
when I heard the name of the beer, I was like, man, that sounds like a early 2000s alt rock band. And now, dude, seeing the logo, it totally is. Like,
so is Flying Dog the band, or is The Truth the name of the band?
The Truth is the single, dude.
Right. So it's like, the truth.
Yeah.
I do solemnly swear.
So Aaron Judge hit his 57th. He hit one earlier. It was 56, and he hit God, man, that is unbelievable. Yes, he is on video game level for sure.
Why did I have to have a bye week this week?
Wow.
Why did I have to be in first place?
It's actually good. You move on no matter what. If you're playing, you have to compete.
Yeah,
I just wanted to rub in that I was in first place. You know
and that you did. By the way, Flying Dog. They actually. The last time I heard Flying Dog was when I was at Camden Yards. They actually have their beers there, and it's actually it's almost like you can walk into it, and it's really, really great. And they have all this really great artwork, and it's a specific artist that it's on the tip of my tongue who the artist is. Because if you remember, like Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas,
on here, but I can't really tell what it is. I'm sure if I hashtag do the research, it could tell me, but.
Yeah, it's based on I don't know if it's based on this artist or it is the artist. But it's, if you remember Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, it's the same artwork.
Oh yeah.
And actually I have a wine of this with the same artist as well. So yeah, this is great. How is it, Kevin? Is it
it's freaking strong. It's an 8.7, so it's definitely not, for everybody. But it's definitely for me. I can tell you that much right now. And it's an 80 IBU on top of it.
80 IBU, yeah.
8.7, wow. 80 IBU.
Super hoppy. Yeah, definitely.
Like I said, it's telling you the truth. It is definitely.
Yikers, dude! It's gonna be a long night.
Yes.
Oh, luckily, I've only taken like 2 sips, so I got another one ready.
Awesome. Jack, tell us about this one.
Yes, dude. So continuing on talking about uniquely Arizona breweries. Tonight, I'm talking about the new False Promises Hazy IPA with Apricot from Fate Brewing Company. Fate took their already excellent False Promises Hazy IPA, which was an award-winning beer. It's a delightful and smooth hazy IPA that is brewed with Chinook, CTZ, and Citra hops, and made this special batch by finishing it off with a pound per gallon of apricot puree, giving this beer a soft and balanced taste with the intense aromas of fresh citrus, ripe apricot, and pine. It has a 6.2% ABV, 35 IBU, and is quite frankly what I would consider a masterpiece of hazy IPAs, but it's a special batch. So if you're anywhere near the Scottsdale or Tempe, Arizona area, rush over, load up, and tell Fate Brewing Company that the Sultan of Swig sent you.
Nice. Awesome. I'm not even aware of Fate Brewing. What city are they out of?
I think you've had it before.
They're in Scottsdale, Tempe, and then Scottsdale, South Scottsdale, and Tempe.
Okay.
And goodness sakes, man. Last year or maybe it was 2 years ago, I was obsessed with their seltzers. They had like an Arnold Palmer seltzer and a prickly pear seltzer that were just amazing. But dude, they make a pretty dang good hazy IPA. And the apricot is a strange twist, but it works.
Yeah, I would love to have that. Apricot sounds amazing.
Yeah.
So that sounds really good. Awesome. So thank you for that one. And my beer for tonight is from Beechwood Brewing, and it's actually a collab, not with a brewery, but with Hoka running shoes. I hope I'm saying that correct. This is the Soul Magic IPA. It is a West Coast IPA brewed in collaboration with our friends at Hoka to show some love to our growing SoCal running community. Featuring Mosaic and Citra hops, this delicious, flavorful IPA is the ultimate post-run brew. 5.8 ABV, 45 IBU, crushable. Obviously, if you're a bike rider. Actually, the bike riding scene in breweries, you would think that they would not be. It's weird. They do like bike riding. I want to say excursions, but basically
Like,
they would go from brewery to brewery and then
like
ride their bikes.
Pub crawl on a bicycle.
Yeah, and you would think that wouldn't be encouraged.
Sure, dude. Hey, let's get loaded and ride our bikes in LA, dude. Smart.
Because you can get a DUI on a bicycle, by the way.
Sure.
I hate to break it to everybody, but you actually
What if I
can't.
was running and I'm drunk? I mean, I was running down the street, because that's something that happens here. There's groups of what they call craft runners who will meet at a brewery, like 20 or 30 people, and they'll start a brewery and do like a 3-4 mile run, and then back at the brewery, and then they have a pint.
That I don't get. I do not get it. I don't get any of it. I'll tell you why.
Like yoga session too at a brewery.
The yoga makes a little bit more sense, and I'll tell you why. Because it's the running part of it is the dehydration part of it.
Oh yes.
And and it's like you have to. I get so dehydrated from craft beer just in general, so I can't imagine like drinking some and then running to another brewery only to hydrate more. And it's just like I would just waterlog myself. They might have some secret that I don't know about, but it sounds fun. But I'd rather do one or the other, either run or drink beer,
or just drink beer.
Yeah, I think so too. I think that's and I love the artwork on this. The seals on top of the buoy is awesome. And if you're familiar with where Beechwood is in that Long Beach area, I don't think they have seals out there. Or do they have seals in Seal Beach?
I mean,
of course they do.
Maybe.
Of course they do. It's why else would it be called Seal Beach?
just like
Mr.
whenever you go to Hawaiian Gardens,
it was a Mr. Robert Seal who founded Seal Beach. All right, I'm sorry.
Okay.
I would know. I was staying there next to him. I tried to get it called Lyon Beach, and I didn't get there in time.
Oh, okay.
Michael, before we move on, there is stuff I have to tell you. I just hashtagged the research. The man who does the artist for Flying Dog Brewery, his name is Ralph Steadman, and yes, he does. He did work, and he's friends of Hunter Thompson.
There you go. Exactly. So I knew he was a very famous artist.
Yes, and he was doing work with them for a long time. And I want to find the quote from, and they got in some trouble in the past. They had to go like the ACLU helped them because on one of their beers they put good beer, no SHIT. Okay. And apparently it got pulled off the shelves, and they went and fought it in court, and they actually won.
Oh wow, how interesting!
Now, I want to find the quote from Mr. Oh no, I gotta find it. Where is it from Mr. Oh, yeah, here we go. Let's talk about Hunter S. Thompson. Here's something that he said. There is an ancient Celtic, I should say, axiom that says, good people drink good beer, which is true then as now. Just look around you in any public barroom and you'll quickly see bad people drink bad beer. Think about it. Wow. Thank you, Hunter S. Thompson. Cheers to Hunter S. Thompson and Ralph Steadman.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's a great quote. Yes. Yeah, and I don't know who made the wine that I have, but I've had it for like over 20 years. Not that I'm sure it aged well. I just love the artwork on it, so I've kept it, and it was a gift from a long time ago, from over 20 years ago. But yes, thank you for looking that up. That's awesome. All right, so let's get into it. Let's get into this day in baseball history for September 13th. Let's do it. September 13th, 1883, Cleveland's one-arm pitcher Hugh Daly no-hits Philadelphia 1-0. The fireballing Irish right-hander lost his left hand due to a gun accident earlier in his life. Okay, we all talk about Jim Abbott, but there was actually someone before that. That is amazing. Have any of you heard of this?
Well, yeah, because I had the gun.
Whoops.
Wow, dude.
Yeah.
Statute of limitations is over, dude. You're good.
No, I mean, yeah, I can tell the truth. He didn't die. I didn't kill him. You know, I'm all right. You know.
Oh.
In 1882, Kevin was hunting humans for sport.
No, I was not hunting humans. No, we were
It was
hunting,
a simpler time, Jack.
we were hunting for bison.
Time.
We were trying to get to bison. That's why, buffalo. And and accidents happen.
Sure.
Class of 82.
Yeah, there you go. That was the year I graduated high school. How'd you know that? 1882. Very good.
I love it. September 13th, 1933. Now, if you were at our event last week, you would have heard about the second part of this, but here is the first part of this, which is absolutely outstanding. So September 13th, 1933, White Sox veteran hurlers Sad Sam Jones, 41, and Red Faber, 44, are the starting pitchers in a doubleheader split by the A's at Philadelphia's Shibe Park. It'll be another 53 seasons before another pair of 40-plus-year-old teammates, Yankees Tommy John and Joe Niekro, starts both ends of a twin bill. If you were there for the event, we talked about this, which is crazy, and it was just a week ago. That's awesome that it came back around.
Yep. And Jack already forgot that.
Yes, Jack, did you remember that?
No, I knew it was one of the Niekro brothers from last week.
Okay.
But I was just, the wheels were turning in my head, and I had this brilliant idea that we should make like an animated Dukes of Hazzard inspired show called The Niekro Boys. That would rule, dude. And they're always running away from Billy Martin.
So,
or umpires,
yes.
You have Joe flicking emery boards at people.
Yes, Billy Martin as Roscoe P. Coltrane. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
And his sidekick Enos. Oh, and Don Zimmer is Enos.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. This is writing itself, boys.
Print the money.
We always say the jokes write themselves, and this is a case of truly the jokes do write themselves.
Who's Uncle Jesse? Okay, I mean, not from the one you're thinking. There's an Uncle Jesse from Dukes of Hazzard.
Yes.
It should be the baseball clown, the guy that was in Bull Durham.
Oh, Max Patkin. There you go. Fantastic. Yeah. Love it. See, it writes itself. Itself.
Give that man the pencil.
he's already got it. He's ready.
There it is.
You got it. That was good. Whoever gave it to him, we gave it to him very quickly. Nice.
Smooth, dude.
Hey, Cowboy
That's
Jack.
Production budget in play right there.
I just want to let you know, I respect you, Booker man.
September 13th, 1936. We seem to talk about this guy a lot. Indians teenage pitching phenom Bob Feller sets a new American League record by striking out 17 batters when he two-hits the A's at Shibe Park. Shibe Park, the grounds. There's a lot of history in Shibe Park.
Right.
After the season, the 17-year-old will return to his Van Meter, Iowa home to graduate from high school because right, priorities.
Yes, priorities. Oh my gosh. What an amazing pitcher. Amazing.
I remember when I was 17 years old, I did not even want to go home, let alone go back to high school.
Well, you saw what I was doing in that earlier slide when I was 17 years old. I was, hunting buffalo and accidentally shot off a hand of somebody.
Angelo, what were you doing at 17?
17, I was not wanting to go back to high school. That's for sure.
Yeah.
I was probably working.
Okay.
And living carefree with not a worry in the world.
Oh, I know. It was I used to tell my son that a lot. I go, you're the one that wanted to grow up. Yeah. You had it easy back then.
Wow.
September 13th, 1960s, the Dodgers end their historic affiliation with the Montreal Royals, citing low attendance as a factor for leaving the city where Jackie Robinson famously broke the color barrier in 1946. Next season, in an effort to keep the team in the city of 100 steeples, which I did not know that was a name for Montreal, the Canadian franchises relocates to New York, playing as the Syracuse Chiefs, a farm team for the Minnesota Twins. Wow, I didn't know that either.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, that's
and then what, another decade before the Expos came around? I'm trying to remember when the Expos first started.
The Expos 72 or was it the 60s? No, it was in the 60s. I mean,
was it in the 60s? Okay, I was trying to remember. So was
I was trying to. I think it was 72.
You think I should remember this off the top of my head, right?
Yeah.
Do the hashtag do the research, right?
Yeah, please look it up because
1969.
69. Okay, so with the Pilots, that's right.
It was the summer of 69, Michael Mondragon.
Oh,
Nice.
Yes.
Great
dude.
song. Great
Nice.
song. So would it be safe to say that the Royals leaving Montreal, ditching Montreal for Syracuse, was the first Montreal screw job?
Wow, dude.
You know, if
This is
you hashtag do the research, there actually was a Montreal screw job before that. You know, that's some deep wrestling.
was there really?
There was am I going to tell this story? It's a wrestling story. Do I dare
No,
tell it?
go for it. Make it
So
quick.
literally, there was a match that took place, I want to say in the 1930s, with Ed Stranger Lewis against a guy named Henry DeGlan. And it was for the championship. And I think Lewis was the champion. And back then, it's 2 out of 3 falls. You have to go to the locker room in between falls. So they lock up the third fall, and all of a sudden, DeGlan, the Olympic wrestler in Canada, so the babyface for sure, starts complaining about a bite. Like, oh God, and look, and there's this big old bite mark on his side. And so, and Lewis is like, no idea. He says, I didn't do this. There's nothing happened here. And he got disqualified, and Henry DeGlan won the belt. So the story is that apparently in between the falls, someone went and bit DeGlan in that spot. So in a spot where you wouldn't be able to see it right away. So when the match would start up and they're in the right position, he starts screaming that he got bit, and he won the title by disqualification that way. So there's your original Montreal screw job in the 1930s.
Wow, that's
Montreal
crazy.
is so full of screw jobs.
This is our life,
Man.
dude. This is our life.
Only
I gotta get this out of my head.
on the Baseball Brew Crew podcast.
Yes.
But
We have CM Punk references, talking about Red Kayfabe. We got Spindrift conversations.
Yeah.
You're meeting all PWG fans.
Yeah, I know, man. This is crazy.
Well, speaking of heels,
All right,
September
hang on, Jack. Calm down.
13th, 1982, in addition to throwing a complete game shutout to beat St. Louis, his former team, 2-0 for his 20th victory of the season, Phillies southpaw Steve Carlton also goes deep in the 5th inning of the Veterans Stadium contest. The game marks the 4th time Lefty has blanked his opponents and homered in the same game, becoming the first pitcher to have accomplished a feat in 3 different decades. Wow.
We've talked so much about Steve Carlton. Is there a player we have not talked more about?
Yeah.
Like him and Bob Feller are like neck and neck, you know?
Yeah, they really are, and seem, and especially on Tuesdays, that's their days.
Dude, Kevin and I did a hazy history on Steve Lefty Carlton.
Oh yeah.
And
Oh yeah.
it is we don't do bad episodes, dude. We wake up in the morning and pee excellence, but it is one of our better episodes for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey Jack, we may have to do a Bob Feller to see if there's any dirt there, you know? We have to look at
Oh,
Bob
yeah.
Feller at some point.
Write it down, dude.
Although I can tell you from meeting Bob Feller, one of the most wonderful baseball players I've ever met.
Yeah.
Like, you would go up to him, you'd show him a photo, and he would tell you, this photo here, this was taken. He'd tell you like what year, where it was at, and he'd give you the history, and he would take time to talk to every single person. And a few times I met him, what a sweetheart. He was.
That's awesome. Yeah, he's nothing but nice things about him that I've heard.
Yeah. So let's ruin it, Jack.
Yes.
I'm on the case.
There you go. And lastly, September 13th, 2014, on AT&T Park, on the AT&T Park's pitching mound, Giants manager Bruce Bochy hands the ball to his son Brett, marking the first time that a manager's son has pitched for a major league team that he has managed.
Wow.
The 27-year-old right-hander enters the game with the bases loaded and 2 out, walking in a run before recording the final out in the 6th inning. And just like a father, to put your son in a predicament and expect him to get out of it. But no, this is super cool. This is I love stuff like this. And
Awesome.
from what I know, Bruce Bochy is I really liked his tenure with the Giants here, and he had managed for the Padres before that, but he goes to the Giants and had all those championships. Did you remember this, Angelo, when you were following the Giants?
You know, I don't recall this particular moment, and it's very easy for people to forget about Brett Bochy. He only pitched for 2 seasons in the major leagues, 14 and 15. But yeah, I mean, I don't remember this at all, but what a cool moment. Like, we talk about, Ken Griffey Sr. and Ken Griffey Jr. hitting home runs in the same game, or back-to-back home runs. And then now you have a manager handing the ball off on the mound to his son. Like, that's super cool. So,
Yeah.
A great moment. I don't remember it, but obviously it happened because we're talking about it.
Yeah.
When his dad handed him to the ball, was he like, here's the Bochy ball?
Yeah, and did they won in that? Did they win the championship in that year, 2014?
It was an even year. So
It was an even year, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the Royals won.
I think it was 12, 14. Yeah, it was 12, 14, and 16.
Yeah, so he got a ring too, right?
Yeah, he had to. If he played in 14 and 15, yeah.
So I'm wondering, because it was September, like they probably called him up, that's a cool move. Just, and yeah,
find out. He was called up. What was he was called up 11 days prior to this.
Yeah.
On September 2nd, and this was his major league debut.
Well, I hope he's qualifies for the ring then. Right on.
Yeah.
Yeah, very cool.
He did not participate in the postseason, but was eligible to receive his championship ring. So
yeah. Hey, Matt was there for the Radiance. Yeah, there it is. That's it.
Ed got a belt. If you look at the comment, he said he got a belt. Kevin's never given anything to any of his sons. Well, Ed got a belt. Or switch.
All right. So we have a new feature here on the podcast, and it is Hazy history. So this is the first time that we've brought this over to the podcast. It's been on Instagram, and we wanted to give Cowboy Jack Durango and Kevin the forum to do this. And what is the subject for tonight of Hazy history?
You want me to start off, Jack?
Yes, sir.
All right. So a player that's come up on occasion here, and I'm sure one of Michael's favorite players, although you've been really young when he actually, were you even aware? Would you even remember him?
Yes, I was actually. Yeah, I would have been when he played with the Cubs. I was 9 years old.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was not talking about him. I thought Bob Gibson, sir.
Oh, Bob Gibson, not so much.
Not
right.
really, yeah.
I didn't know anything about Bob Gibson.
Because you were a Cardinals fan, but he finished up in the mid-70s. So there we go. Boom. Like, wait, Bob Gibson versus Pete LeCoq? That does not seem to compute, right? That does not seem to compute. But we're going to tell you why it does compute. So first, I mean, we got to talk about Bob Gibson a little bit, right? So for those who don't know, let me just go through the basic stuff first. 251 wins, 3,117 strikeouts. The first National League pitcher to reach 3,000 strikeouts. His ERA over his career was 2.91. 2.91. No,
Crazy.
That's almost like you can win almost win an ERA crown with that much of an ERA nowadays. 9-time All-Star. He won a World Series in 64 and 67. Is that correct, Michael?
Yeah.
I believe those are years. 2 Cy Young Award winners, and he actually got the MVP for the National League in 68. And here we go. Known for a fiercely competitive nature and for intimidating opposing batters. He did make the Hall of Fame in 1981, his first year eligibility. and he has his uniform retired by the Cardinals, and he's in the Cardinal Hall of Fame. So let me tell you a little bit more here. Let's go a little deeper here. We talk about this guy, this man, very, very intimidating to say the least. Let me give you an example of this guy's competitive spirit, all right? July 15th, 1967. He's playing against the Pirates. A liner off the bat of Roberto Clemente caromed off of Gibson's right shin. Gibson pitched to 3 more batters before his leg finally snapped just above the ankle.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
This guy had a ball hit his shin. He didn't stay out of the game. 3 batters later, his ankle just broke it.
That's nuts.
And they had to take him out of the game, and he was on the injured list. And actually, more or less, it really did affect that 67 team, even though they ended up winning the World Series 67, ironically enough. I hope he was back in time for the playoffs. I'll give you a quote from Bob and from Tim McCarver because I want to talk about his competitive spirit, and their batters were afraid of him. He flat said, he's like, I'm gonna throw a batter sometimes. He wasn't timid about it. So Tim McCarver, catcher, longtime catcher. Also, we mentioned him in our story about Steve Carlton. So Tim McCarver, here's a quote. For my money, the most intimidating, arrogant pitcher ever to kick up dirt on a mound is Bob Gibson. But if you ever saw Gibson work, you never forget his style. His cap pulled down low over his eyes. The ball gripped, almost mashed behind his right hip. The eyes smoldering at each batter, almost accusingly. He didn't like to lose to anyone and anything. Bob was a man of mulish competitive instinct, much like Cowboy Jack, by the way. And let me quote Mr. Bob Gibson himself, and then we'll talk about that other guy in the photo. So here's a quote from Bob Gibson. I'd like to think that the term intensity comes much closer to summarizing my pitching style than do qualities like meanness and anger, which were merely devices. My pitching career, I believe, offers a lot of evidence to the theory that baseball is a mental discipline as much as a physical one. The part of pitching that separates the stars from everyone else is about 90% mental. That's why I consider it so important to mess with a batter's head without letting him inside mine. There you go. So that guy had an insane competitive spirit.
Yeah.
Why are we talking about Pete Lecoq? Before we do that, Michael Mondragon, we've talked about him before. Why do you know Pete Lecoq?
Well, he is the son of this man, Peter Marshall.
Yes.
And when I was in Mesa, Arizona, I saw, I think there was Fergie Jenkins who was signing. There was Bill Buckner that was signing.
Is that the actual photo I have that's autographed by Pete Lecoq?
I don't think it might be
one of them together. I have one of them together.
I figure so, but I saw that Pete Lecoq was signing, and I'm like, no way. And I was like, it's amazing. So I went up and I actually got Kevin an autograph of it, and his the book, right?
The book, yes, that comes book. I've showed that before. I saw the photos the other day, but I meant to pull it out. But
yeah. So, but then we talked about Peter Marshall, his father, which was a game show host.
Yes, most known for hosting Hollywood Squares in the 70s and in the early 80s too when it came back. That's what he's definitely most known for. But you see why he changed his name to Peter Marshall for the screen.
Yes.
Because obviously his name is, Pete Lecoq. But I think Pete Lecoq. Oh, I forgot. I didn't say this. I don't think Pete's his actual first name, but let's talk about that. Let's talk about the fact that this guy actually made it to the major leagues. He did all right. He played with the Cubs for several years. From 72, 76, he played at the Royals 77 to 1980. And hey, he made the World Series. The Royals were in the World Series in 1980, so that's something. And then his last year, he played for the Yokohama Tayo Whales. That was his last time in professional baseball. And he was a good fielder at first in the outfield, but never became an everyday player. He was often used as a pinch hitter or defensive replacement, and sometimes a DH. And did we see his senior league card? Because he played in the senior league, by the way.
Oh,
he played. I saw this. I'm like, what? How did I miss that? So in 1989, he played for the St. Petersburg Pelicans and the Winter Haven Super Sox of the Senior Professional Baseball Association.
I'll have to look him up.
Like that.
I think that we did play one of his senior league cards.
I think so too.
And it was on my bench, and I actually took it. It was like,
you're absolutely right on that. Yeah.
There you go. Thank you, Jack, for that. And so he only played nine seasons, 715 games, 224 RBIs, and he hit 27 home runs. So,
Wow.
but it's average season. But why would I talk about these two together? And why would I specifically mention 27 home runs, Cowboy Jack?
I don't know. It's
You
because
want-
it's
you wanna know why?
it's a lot. Yeah, tell me.
Yeah. So, so let's talk about September 3rd, 1975. It's a 7-6 game, and Pete Lecoq is coming up with the bases loaded. And Bob Gibson, in the tail end of his career, is pitching. And he actually gave up a grand slam home run to Pete Lecoq at Busch Stadium too, by the way, Mr. Mondragon.
Okay. Yes.
And it helped solidify their lead. The Cubs ended up winning the game 11-6. So, and Gibson ended up getting the next batter out, and that was it. And after that, he retired. Literally, apparently the quote is, "I knew it was time to retire when I gave up a grand slam to Pete Lecoq." One of the greatest pitchers of all time. Had an amazing 13, 14-year career, but that's what did it.
Nice. Wow.
There's a little bit of background, Jack. Is there anything I should add to that, or do you have some more? Why don't you tell me how this story jumps to you, sir? Oh, that sounds good.
Then from 5,000 throats there rose a lusty yell. It rumbled through the valley. It rattled through the dell. It pounded on the mountain and recoiled up the flat. For Lecoq, the mighty Lecoq, was advancing to bat. There was ease in Lecoq's manner as he stepped to the plate. There was pride in Lecoq's bearing, and a smile lit Lecoq's face. And when responding to the cheers, he lightly doffed his hat. No stranger in the crowd could doubt 'twas Lecoq at bat. 10,000 eyes were on him as he rubbed his hands in the dirt. 5,000 tongues applauded when he wiped them on his shirt. While Bob Gibson ground the ball in his hip, defiance flashed on Lecoq's eye. A sneer curled Lecoq's lip. Oh, somewhere in this favored land, the sun is shining bright. The band is playing somewhere, and somewhere hearts are light. And somewhere men are laughing, and somewhere children shout. But there is no joy at the old timers game. Mighty Lecoq was hit by Bob Gibson. In the summer of 1985,
For
U.S.
10 years after this game that I just talked about. All right, 10 years later,
a decade after the Grand Slam. 1985 in the United States, U.S. Route 66 was decommissioned. The first Nintendo Entertainment System was released. The Unabomber was sending explosive devices to Boeing and UC Berkeley. Back to the Future was released in theaters, and Bobby Knight was throwing chairs across basketball courts. But the single most important event took place during an old-timers game in which Hollywood royalty, Pete Lecoq, the tall, strapping mountain of a man, found himself standing in the batter's box staring at his nemesis, whom he had victoriously overcame with a walk-off grand slam a decade earlier. On the mound was Bob Hoot Gibson.
Thank you. I forgot the Hoot.
Hoot Gibson was known as a tough customer, and even Hank Aaron himself giving the following advice to a young Dusty Baker. Don't dig in against Bob Gibson. He'll knock you down. Don't stare at him. He doesn't like it. If you happen to hit a home run, don't run too slow, but don't run too fast. If you happen to want to celebrate, get to the tunnel first. And if he hits you, don't charge the mound because he's a Golden Glove boxer.
Oh, and I forgot one thing too. He actually was a great basketball player, and he actually tried to get to Indiana University on a scholarship, but their quota for African Americans was full. So they had to go to Creighton, and he had to play an exhibition game with a bunch of other college players against the Harlem Globetrotters. And he did so well in that game, he became a Harlem Globetrotter.
Yep. That was in a very early
Yes,
a podcast that we did. And that's awesome.
Yeah, I believe that was in a now defunct Did You Know?
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right on that. Oh my gosh. I mean, Bob Gibson is insane. There's another Tim McCarver quote, which I love. It says, Bob Gibson is the luckiest pitcher I ever saw. He always pitches when the other team doesn't score any runs.
And I saw it mentioned in the chat, you mentioned earlier, in 1968, between him doing an incredible season, Don Drysdale, and there you go, and Danny McLean, that's the year he won 30 games. One of Jack's favorite pitchers, Danny McLean. They literally had to change the mound.
Yep.
68 was called the year of the pitcher. They raised it. Is that correct? Or they lower it?
They lowered it.
They lowered it 5 inches from 15 inches to 10.
Yeah. Yeah. So they literally changed the game because of him. So he was so dominant in that 68 season. So,
but let's talk about 1985, Jack.
So this violent scumbag in an old-timers game, old-timers game that was held in Wrigley Field.
Who, Pete Lecoq?
Bob Hoot Gibson decided to take out a page of Gangsta New Jack's book and went into business for himself to get revenge on Big Pete Lecoq. On the first pitch Hoot threw, it was a high heater with pinpoint accuracy. His target wasn't the strike zone, boys and girls. It was Big Peter Lecoq's ribs, and he nailed it perfectly. To quote the great Lecoq himself, all of a sudden, Gibson comes running out of the dugout. He sends Bob Feller back to the bench, and he starts warming up, and I think, he's not really going to hit me. Sure enough, first pitch, whammo! So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, worshipers at the throne of the Sultan of Swig, and members of the Baseball Brew Crew Bruniverse, tonight's deplorable baseball bum of the week is Bob Hoot Gibson for carrying a grudge for over a decade and trying to injure one of baseball, nay, America's greatest treasures, Pete Lecoq.
America's greatest treasures. We'll
definitely have a kangaroo court for this one.
Oh my gosh.
Bob Gibson, what a gamer.
That's definitely a gamer.
Yes.
But you know what's funny though is that there's people are talking about this and there's stories that say, oh, this didn't even happen. Like I saw stuff on Twitter saying this incident in Old Timers didn't even happen. I'm like, I don't see any proof of it. So it's like, but
QAnon's even in baseball, dude. It happened. Pete Lecoq said it, and it happened.
Pete Lecoq, I've been hearing, is not the most truthful man either, though, Cowboy Jack.
I've read he's one heck of a storyteller, though.
Yes. So, and apparently he said that the last pitch that Gibson ever threw was to Pete Lecoq when he hit the grand slam. And what a coincidence that it's not true. He ended up facing the next batter and got him out. He told a story where he said the first time he said he got called to the major leagues at the age of 19. He said he got a walk-off single in a game against Bob Gibson. And because he said he got called up to replace Billy Williams, Hall of Famer Billy Williams. And trying to figure out what. And there's nothing, and apparently he didn't get called to the major leagues until he was 20, first of all. And after this walk-off single, he says he was hit by a pitch by Gibson in a game in St. Louis 3 weeks later. And Lecoq's career includes 5 hit-by pitches. One of them was by Gibson, but it was in 1974. After like a different year than what was claimed here.
Kevin, I don't even know who you are anymore. Like, who are you to let facts get in the way of a good story, brother?
Who are you to let a story get in the way of facts?
Have you met me, bro?
Yes, I have, sir. Last week.
Dude, Pete Lecoq, his number's 23 when he's on the Cubbies. Who else was number 23? Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan was a huge Pete Lecoq fan. Done.
Yeah, but you know,
Ryan
you know what they say. You know what they say about Michael Jordan fans, though. They're the worst.
Yeah,
sports fans in
exactly.
history, man.
Let's call back.
By the way,
Bring it
good job.
around, boys and girls. That's how professionals do it.
Yep.
Is this a plant?
He did claim to be the last 23 before Ryan Sandberg.
Yeah, Ryan Sandberg was.
But
23.
no, that's not true. No.
Wow, that's incredible. And here's another thing about Bob Gibson. I remember, like, say you went into a city, and so the Cardinals are playing, let's say, Pittsburgh, and you happen to be friends or an old teammate of someone. So like after the game or before the game, you would meet up with them, or they would come over to the clubhouse, say hello or whatever. Bob Gibson would like throw like a fit, like what the, like basically like go nuts, like how dare you?
So,
and this,
a story I had heard was apparently when he would go to when he'd be on the All-Star game, he would not talk to his teammates on the All-Star team. Like he said, Joe Torre told a story where he's like, they're in the shower. This is when Joe Torre was on the Cardinals. I think he was on the Braves. I think.
yeah, it was Braves.
So
yeah.
he was on they were both in the All-Star team.
Yeah.
And after the game, he was like, saying, "Hey, blah, blah, you did great." And Bob Gibson just didn't say a word to him. He's like, I don't talk to my opponents.
That's awesome.
My brothers, my very first appearance on the Baseball Brew Crew was a hoppy hour. And I discussed Ty Cobb and I called him baseball's greatest monster. No mas, dude. Bob Gibson is the new baseball's biggest monster.
Wow.
I am disgusted what he did to Pete LeCoq. Disgusted.
You're telling me that I could go beat up a man who's handicapped for maybe saying something nasty to me. That's okay. But if I throw a baseball at a guy, that's worse. I'll say that.
After a 10-year grudge.
Okay. So if I went to one of my old wrestling opponents, Michael Mondragon, let's say I just threw a baseball at him. Would that be worse than me beating up a fan in the audience?
Are you holding a grudge for him beating you 10 years ago? Because if you were holding a grudge for everybody that beat you 10 years ago, brother, that's a lot of grudges.
Actually, hashtag. No, I don't think it's on record, but my last match was 11 years ago, and I defeated Michael Mondragon.
That's
so
right.
That is true.
Dude,
and guess who ring announced that match?
I know.
Yes, exactly.
That's right. I have a witness. Can I get a witness?
Well, there is a silver lining to all this, and I understand why Cowboy Jack has sided with Pete LeCoq, and this picture should definitely go in the Baseball Hall of Fame.
Oh my God.
So I understand where you're coming from, Cowboy Jack. Pete LeCoq was the man, just like Kevin Lyon was a man last week at Radiant. This is very similar.
Very similar, dude. More than one person asked for a hotel key, dude. I'm just saying. More than one person. Ladies, you know who you are out there, dude.
This is
That's
one of the
wonderful
greatest
photo.
photos
Thank
of
you.
all time.
So I think Cowboy Jack, this photo alone is going to put Pete LeCoq on the Diamond Icon ballot.
Yeah, he might be a Diamond Icon nominee right here, just from this picture alone.
just put him in. He doesn't even look at that. He doesn't need to play the field.
An American treasure, dude. An American treasure.
Hey, Cowboy Jack, you know what? I'm going to go on record right now and say, as much as the storyteller it seems as Pete LeCoq was, if I were a betting man, I'd say Pete LeCoq always tells the hard truth.
I do solemnly swear.
Going yard.
What a way to close it out. Hey, if you like what we're doing here, you can definitely become a Patreon member. Patreon.com/beer baseball. Check us out on our social media, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitch, and TikTok. We definitely have a lot of just tell a friend and like and subscribe, do it all. We thank you so much for joining us every week. Guys, any last words before we sign off for this week?
Join us on Sunday for another episode of Hazy History with Cowboy Jack Durango and Kevin Lyon. We're going to just have a surprise topic on Sunday.
I had something I was going to throw at you, and I can't remember what it is now. Shoot.
It'll be a surprise. Tune in on Instagram. That's called a teaser, baby. That's how we talk them into the seats. Follow us on Instagram. Watch out for us Sunday at 2 p.m. for Hazy History with Kevin Lyon and Cowboy Jack Durango.
Nice. Angelo, what do you got for this weekend?
Saturday, 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Don't forget to tune in to a brand new edition of Rip and Review with Angelo. Thank you guys for tuning in faithfully each and every Saturday as I open up some packs and review some product. So we got some fun stuff coming down the pipe, so don't forget to tune in. Go back last week, check out 2021 Topps Heritage Minor League, and don't forget to tune in this upcoming week and weeks going forward. So appreciate you guys' support.
Awesome. Kevin.
All right, I'm going to be doing pint and packs. I believe let's shoot for 7 o'clock tomorrow. I don't know what beer I'm going to have because I might be on location. That's the plans right now. But friend of the show, Mark from Las Vegas, gave me 2 packs here. I have a 1991 Topps gum, and here's a very special one here. This is a 1984 Action All-Stars.
Oh, it's so cool.
Look how large these cards are, by the way.
So cool.
These are really cool cards. There's a few cards in here, 5 cards and part of puzzle. I want to say this is Donruss, I believe. Yes, made by Donruss.
Yep.
Hey, distribution by Donruss Company, Memphis, Tennessee. There we go.
Oh wow, I didn't know.
This will be fun to look at. I remember these cards, but obviously I've not opened them since 1984.
Those are cool. I definitely
look forward to
can't
seeing
wait
those
to see.
tomorrow.
Yeah, I can't wait to see all of these. Thank you so much for joining us. We will see you next Tuesday with another podcast recording. So definitely check us out. Check us out on our social media. We'll see you next week. Good night, everyone. Take care.